Well, possibly would have been here for everybody, he would have, but due to his business commitments, he couldn't have. So, you know, he's thinking about us, and we're going to start off with his team. First thing, we've always, the last 9 years, we've always kept this program intact. We've had an opportunity, Mr. Holman and I, we've coached down at Seneca together for years, and then we used to do the kid wrestling. A lot of the boys we've known, we've come up with them. We've had the opportunity not only to coach them in the 7th and 8th grade, but we've had the opportunity to coach them in the 9th grade. And we've felt we've gotten really, really close to the boys. We've had a really good quality family-type program, and we really think that this year's group, both red and gold, we've never really considered ourselves red and gold. It's always been just one team. And you know, our goal is each one of those guys is just, hey, you're going after the JV next year. We're just doing it 1 year earlier. You know, we practice together, we're in the same room, we go to the same tournaments, we wrestle the same people. And our feeling is that we're a family, that we're nothing more than an extra year in a JV. We're together now. And I feel it's really paid the price in our program over the last few years. And these young men this year, I feel, Mr. Holmgren especially, he wanted me to make sure I mention that. We've never gotten out of some teams what we got out of these guys this year. Not so much from the athletic ability standpoint, but about maybe 3 weeks into the season, something was wrong. And, you know, we were frustrated. There were some things going on wrong in the room. And, you know, we sat back and we had to evaluate. And one of the biggest problems we felt is that we weren't in the building. I had been moved over to an elementary school. Mr. Holmgren's not a teacher. And we just felt that something was lacking. We sat down with the guys and we tried to explain to them, hey, you know what? The bottom line is we have to improve our work ethic. All right? There's got to be more of a commitment here. We started practicing maybe a little longer, a little harder. We got the boys going down into extra help. We had to get extra help out of the way because that's the most important part, is the class work. All right, and then we were practicing 3:30 to 5:30. We were spending some good quality time with them, and their work ethic increased. And I think the efforts. One of the teams went undefeated. One of the teams had one loss. Okay, that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is that the work ethic increased, not only in the classroom but on the mat. And the boys had a real positive experience. And they learned that not only will you improve as a wrestler when your work ethic improves, but you'll improve as a person when your work ethic improves. They worked hard, and it's a tribute to their season, both red and gold, that they had quality seasons because they were willing to put the time in. Okay, for the red team, Chandler Bogart, Dougie Derlick, Justin Gaddy, Chris Holgerson, Phil Jaramillo, Justin Kagan, Tommy Larson, Sean Lundy, Tommy Marquardt, Mike Ponticello, Mike Coolio, Andy Ramstad. Just a little note here, Andy, from Mr. Holmgren, was voted our most improved wrestler. Dan Lipka, Arnel San Pedro, Eric Reynolds, Chris Santos, Andy Schultz,
You didn't smile, Eric.
Chris Schwab,
Let's take the picture. You didn't smile.
Bobby Sedani, Jeff Ventimiglia, South Red. Nice job, guys. Mr. Holmgren submitted two names that we wanted to deal with here. We've always felt that these awards for the last 9 years, it's really hard to put a finger on it as far as we don't want to call it outstanding wrestlers because we just don't want to do that because so many of them have outstanding seasons. Many of them go undefeated. To say it's outstanding for one is not outstanding for another, but usually we narrow it down to two young men, one from Sagamore Junior High School and one from Seneca Junior High School. And what we'd like to do is, because we're 7th and 8th grade coaches as well and we've traveled up with them, we really make this a 3-year award. And this award we really reserve for those guys that participate for 3 years in the 7th grade. They finish up in the 9th grade. They fulfill their junior high commitment, and now they're moving on to the JV. One of the young men we're really expecting a lot of things from. He's a very, very steady young man. He doesn't get very emotional. He's a heck of a heavyweight. We're expecting some big things out of him. He's the kind of kid, he's very headsy. He knows just how to win. He'll sit there at the end of the bench, and when all the pressure is mounted, and you got to send this guy out there to lock a win for you in a wrestling match. And if you've never done that before, it's sort of like in any other sport. It's sort of like giving a guy a basketball with 10 seconds to go, and he's got to score the basket to tie it or win it. When you send a wrestler out there as a heavyweight, with all the pressure mounted on him, you need somebody that's steady, and that's Mike Ponticello. This other young man, he originally had an early start with the JV, and we really wish he would have stayed there, because as far as I'm concerned, this young man, if he had done what he did for us in the beginning of the year, he probably would have placed in the league wrestling tournament as a varsity wrestler. He might have went to the counties. That's how I feel about it, and I have no problem saying it. You know, he basically in the beginning of the year didn't want to work. That's what it was. He saw himself as a young wrestler, and he's going to wait his turn, and I tried to convince him as the year went on. You know, Tommy, you're a quality wrestler. This is what you have to do. You got to go out there. You could have helped us. And his work ethic improved from day one till the end of the year. He saw himself as a 100-pounder. We saw him as a 94-pounder. You know, a wrestler has to make the sacrifices. That's the difference. You know, you practice all day. You go home. He's got to go out and run. He's got to watch his weight. He's got to make his weight class. That's just discipline. And it's not easy. It's not an easy game. This young man learned a lot this year. I'm looking forward to some big things from him next year. Tommy Markler. Sachem.